So this is the latest nearly indestructible phone, and you've launched it here at Barcelona. I remember last year, your nearly indestructible phone on CNN. What's new this year?
Well, so this year we are introducing the Spirit. It's our first 3G phone, which is kind of next generation technology. It's on a Qualcomm chipset, a really improved user interface. But while the phone is not unbreakable, I don't want to say that, it is very, very tough. And so we've made some improvements in the design to make it even tougher.
So it costs between, what, $450 for a phone. Who uses a nearly indestructible phone? What's your market?
This is focused on the 8 to 13% of the world's population that works outdoors. People who, if a phone breaks, it's not a hassle, it's actually a problem. They'll lose a day's worth of work, or in some cases could be in harm's way. So we focus on those folks who the industry was actually built around back in the 70s, those folks who spend their time outdoors.
Well, most phones made today, you could argue, aren't nearly indestructible. In fact, they break all the time.
Well, they absolutely do. 15% of the phones that are sold every year, which is about 150 million phones, are sold because people break their phones. So as an industry, it's important that the phone you have in your pocket, it's important that breaks every...
Well, this one's pretty reliable. I like the old-fashioned Nokia because it's pretty good for me. If I drop it, it doesn't break. It might fall apart, but I can put it back together again.
And for people for people like us who work inside, that makes sense. But for folks who work outdoors, they need a different type of phone. They need a phone with keys you can use with a glove. They need a phone that has a glare-resistant screen, a speaker that's twice as loud, and a battery that gives you twice the amount of talk time. Because when you're outdoors, you can't plug it in.
How many have you sold in the last, say, 24 months?
So we've almost crossed the 500,000 mark. We're now in 50 countries, 24 languages. Basically, everyone in the world, there's going to be a small group of folks, about 2% of the world, in every country that wants and needs this kind of a phone.
Now, you guarantee to replace it if it breaks. How many have come back broken?
So tens of thousands of phones have come back.
Really?
But that's very typical with the industry average.
Okay.
But what's great about our phones is that we learn. Every time someone gives us a phone back, we learn on why it breaks. And we give them a phone unconditionally without a question. So one of the innovations we made this year was to deal with one of the major reasons that phones break. So phones break because they fall apart, and so we have 12 screws, 6 that you can see, 6 you can't.
Okay.
They break because they get water inside. This is put together like an O-ring, so it's completely waterproof. But they finally break, and most of your viewers would say they break because the lens breaks.
Yeah, the screen.
The screen. So we've made what's called a Gorilla Glass in conjunction with Corning. It took us about a year and a half to do this. It's basically a virtually unbreakable screen.
Right. Well, that is obviously what most people complain about, the screen.
That's right.
So this is even more indestructible. Can I give it a try?
You can absolutely give it a try.
I know you have your setup here. Now, it's not about using the nail to break the phone. It's about actually using the phone to drive the nail. Right on the screen. That's
right
okay with you.
Go ahead.
All right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
You can go a little harder. Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah. You've knocked your sign out.
All right, you ready for a reveal?
Press the button.
It's good.
No scratch?
Not a scratch. Though I like my Nokia phone, I don't think I'm going to try that with my Nokia. So
I wouldn't recommend it.
So who else uses these? I mean, it's not just emergency services.
So it's folks in oil and gas, agriculture, transportation, construction, maintenance, security, fire and police. United Nations security forces use our phone. NATO uses our phone. A number of militaries around the world use our phone.
A lot of phone manufacturers now, subsidies, heavy subsidies. It's more about the content inside. Are you making money from this?
We are. Our phones have the same kind of smartphone capabilities as a BlackBerry, as an example. And so we have a series of applications that we sponsor and where we make money in the same context. Again, it's a small niche that we focus on, but they have different needs than an Apple, so they don't need to watch Desperate Housewives on TV. They need, for example, good location-based services.
Right.
And we make sure that the phone works better on those types of applications than any other phone.